Did you accept your vote?
Sorry?
Did you accept the vote?
Not yet.
Button. Not yet.
Okay.
He's ringing me today anyway to figure out when's a good time. Is Monday's best for you, or is any day? Could it be any day? Like I know, of course, we've got pictures and stuff.
Well, Monday is best, but basically we'll work with whenever, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I think that they're getting pretty cool.
Yeah.
So, not Monday is good, Friday afternoon is good, but you know, whatever works.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that kind of.
Yeah.
Even if it's on BSP, they will kind of just manage.
Yeah, we will.
Yeah.
Good.
Just because of the well, it's in the silver book, so I put the silver books out.
First, I do Lamrim couple. You do what you normally do first. Well, I'll see you just check.
Sorry?
Yeah, okay, we'll do the short one because it's there.
I don't know about the.
Amazon
and then medicine Buddha?
Yes.
So we'll start with a recitation of Lama Tsongkhapa Guru Yoga. Put it on the screen.
Page 7.
Many the
No.
Good morning, everyone.
Hi.
안녕하세요. 지단이 공부칼이야. 아니 공부 수수기 그기다 전용이 진다 제려야. 아니 지 갱행도 소유의 디지털이야. 아니 샤브르드에게 목수 주어res라. 안전이나 대신기 망고에 베키침보 단다 캐티 저거 찍고 많이 봐. 먼저 디기 결국은 내가 지금 아니 개베트려야 나스긴디 메주 찍고 있고 이거도 아스라 그래서 가시 과도 미 때는 가고 메주를 드리 나 게이톤 총선스 네 콘 참이 체도 나스들이 결국으로스라.
So we will start today with, first of all, doing a recitation of Lama Tsongkhapa Guru Yoga, as we do always. And then we're going to spend a few minutes reciting the Medicine Buddha mantra for the sake of Tom Victor, who is about to have an operation. He's at the hospital at the moment. Don't freak out. He's doing all right. But Geshe says that we have different monasteries, different Buddhist institutions that have had major patrons that have contributed to those Buddhist institutions. So every once in a while, when something happens, we also make prayers for the sake of those patrons, sponsors, and so forth. So today we're going to just spend a few minutes doing it for the sake of Tom Victor. And not only for the sake of Tom Victor, also if you have anyone that you would like to dedicate this recitation for, you're definitely most welcome to include whoever you want in our prayers. Sometimes Geshe feels that, that you have sometimes people that are dear to you and you're not really into announcing the name publicly. You want to keep it private, and this is completely okay. So whoever might be the person that you want to include in your prayers, we're going to do some mantras of Medicine Buddha after the recitation of Lama Tsongkhapa's Guru Yoga.
어디리딘자 남기 캬안족이 아니 마부 요레스니 만 쇼조델에 원네 단니기 샘핑기 샤사기 토미 수수비기 아니 칼리슈 갸딩이 요레스 하코기스라 아니 캬안족이야 지피기 내나살 소바다 지 자만디기 깡가초 가빌라 아니 캬안 텐데 아니야 수수도 쉬바인 안가주델 토야디 아니지 아니 꺄기 콘주스무야 겸주시야다 물론 때인데 만주데 투구연자 디 삼반남다 체그레스 딘자 디 체바이나 안간수 펜주지 담식 싸마다 어딘디여 바이자 땡데 펜도 용그레스 몽바이나 딘디 걔는 간지스 강을 체바이나 인짐 이간줄라 야 마시바이나 간주 말바이나 간주 싱마라스로 간자코 마라스
So of course, not only this particular individual now, but we also have many people that are connected to Chenrezig Institute that have been contributing, are contributing to different activities of the center, or you might just have this personal connection with the center. And every once in a while, we do experience some difficult conditions, difficult situations. We might get sick, or there might be something else that occurs. So of course, we can include whoever needs in our prayers, particularly since we have this particular connection between us all. We have pure samayas between us all. And at those difficult times, if you ask for some prayers to be done, we're going to do it happily. We're going to make some supplications to the objects of refuge. We're going to make some aspirational prayers. Don't hold back if you feel that you need some help or assistance or some emotional support. We can always include you in our prayers.
딘디기 소소 담식 제지가 완자 아니 먼저 디톤이다 아니 호모노도 점죽 시바는 야치 야탐바 아니 셋델마베는 뛰어치마 간지 편도 여버 야치 야탐바레 티툴라 샤비톤 아니 마음방은 삼도 아니 찍든지 안 로고스라.
And people contribute in a variety of ways. Some people contribute financially, some people contribute to time, some people do some work for the sake of the Institute. So we do engage with the Cimrezek Institute in a variety of ways, and all these varieties of ways come together, you could say, with making aspirational prayers, making requests for the sake of different people that are in need. So please keep Tom and also all other people that you connected with in your mind, and with that, we're going to do some prayers. So let's begin first of all with Lamrim Kappa's Guru Yoga.
On page 7 or 8, depending on your version, the actual practice. From the heart of the Saviour, the humble
Lift the sheet on the peak of cloud, remembering cloud for extensive.
King of Dharma, omniscient,
Please come. Form human light from lotus and moon, my perfect pure glory smiles with light, supreme fill of merit from a mind of faith, please abide for 100 years to spread the teaching. Mind has the intellect and full extent of objectivity.
your Holy Spirit with its excellent explanations, and heal all of those who fortune. Your holy body is radiantly beautiful with glory renowned. To you,
beautiful, see, hear, and remember, all prostrate. This in drinking water, various flowers, fragrant incenses, lights, scented waters, and so on. Also incline like offerings both actually arranged and mentally eminent. But to you, the supreme fill of merit. Whatever non-visual body, speech, and mind especially draws opposite of the three gods. I have collected from beginningless time, up with rich with the regret from my this stroke from much learning and practicing this generic range of freedoms and riches is meaningful. My abandoning the equally concerns, Seviers, perfect, pure, holy gurus with billowing clouds of wisdom and compassion in the sky of the Dhamma. Fine, extensive Dhamma, upon which receptacle of praise
exactly as they need. May whatever virtues I have
collected benefit teachings of all
transmigratory beings.
and in particular may cause the essence of perfect, pure loss and practice teachings to shine forever. Maybe Joshi Metoja, Renan Linchini Degen Padi, Sange Shinto Mite Muai, Joko Nanda Shinlacho Pasho.
By the merits of having offered this mandala to Lama Tsongkhapa and his two sons, may I and
the family members
and all sentient beings be able to read, practice, and actualize the teachings of victorious one Lama Tsongkhapa, who had the morality of an eminently pure way of life, was courageous in the extensive conduct of the sons of the victorious ones, and accomplished the yoga in 2 stages: greed, bliss, and emptiness.
Guru Ratananda Kamiyataya. Having fervently requested in this way, all the beings of white light and amazing from the hearts of the perfect pure Father's, binding into one enter my
White nectar, now closely opening of the tube of white light, cleansing all my sicknesses, spirit harms, negative karmas, alterations, and imprints without exception. My body becomes as pure and clear as crystal. Page 13, the 5-line Big Sema. May say wait attention to Jene Kimber Wampo Jumbo Ali Tse Yanchi Kebe Sunyen Papa Losan Trape Shabla Soba we may say wait attention Jene Kimber Wampo Jumbo Ali Tse Samveta Kanche Kebe Sunyen Papa Losan Trape Shabla Soba Tachen Chen Rezi, Jimmy Kimbe Wampo Jambe, Jomze Saweda, Kanchen Kimbe Tsugen Song Kapa, Lo Santra Peshabla Soa. La. Kerae.
Mane tanda men ai tanda sa.
Sai and
Yeah.
unchecked place. Member.
Tanda la ai mane. That's what we could find on Google. Om Bekanse, Bekanse, Maha Bekanse, Bekanse, Raja Samagate So. Om Bekanse, Bekanse, Maha Bekanse, Bekanse, Raja Samagate So. Om Bekanse, Bekanse, Maha Bekanse, Bekanse, Raja Samagate So. Om Bekanse, Bekanse, Maha Bekanse, Bekanse, Raja Samagate So. Om Bekanse, Bekanse, Maha Bekanse, Bekanse, Raja Samagate So. Om Bekanse, Bekanse, Maha Bekanse, Bekanse, Raja Samagate So. Om Bekanse, Bekanse, Maha Bekanse, Bekanse, Raja Samagate So. Om Bekanse, Bekanse, Maha Bekanse, Bekanse, Raja Samagate So. Om Bekanse, Bekanse, Maha Bekanse, Bekanse, Raja Samagate So. Om Bekanse, Bekanse, Maha Bekanse, Bekanse, Raja Samagate So. Om Bekanse, Bekanse, Maha Bekanse, Bekanse, Raja Samagate So. Om Bekanse, Bekanse, Maha Bekanse, Bekanse, Raja Samagate So. Om Bekanse, Bekanse, Maha Bekanse, Bekanse, Raja Samagate So. Om Bekanse, Bekanse, Maha Bekanse, Bekanse, Raja Samagate So. Om Bekanse, Bekanse, Maha Bekanse, Bekanse, Raja Samagate So. Om Bekanse, Bekanse, Maha Bekanse, Bekanse, Raja Samagate So. Om Bekanse, Bekanse, Maha Bekanse, Bekanse, Raja So. Om Bekanse, Bekanse, Maha Bekanse, Bekanse, Raja Samagate So. Om Bekanse, Bekanse, Maha Bekanse, Bekanse, Raja Samagate So. Om Bekanse, Bekanse, Maha Bekanse, Bekanse, Raja Samagate So. Om Bekanse, Bekanse, Maha Bekanse, Bekanse, Raja Samagate So. Om Bekanse, Bekanse, Maha Bekanse, Bekanse, Raja Samagate So. Om Bekanse, Bekanse, Maha Bekanse, Bekanse, Raja Samagate So. Om Bekanse, Bekanse, Maha Bekanse, Bekanse, Raja Samagate So. Om Bekanse, Bekanse, Maha Bekanse, Bekanse, Raja Samagate So. Om Bekanse, Bekanse, Maha Bekanse, Bekanse, Raja Samagate So. Om Bekanse, Bekanse, Maha Bekanse, Bekanse, Raja Samagate So. Om Bekanse, Bekanse, Maha Bekanse, Bekanse, Raja Samagate So. Om Bekanse, Bekanse, Maha Bekanse, Raja Samagate So. Om Bekanse, Bekanse, Maha Bekanse, Raja Samagate So. Om Bekanse, Bekanse, Maha Bekanse, Bekanse, Raja Samagate So. Tayata Om Bekanze Bekanze Maha Bekanze Bekanze Raja Samangatiso Ta Om Bekanze Bekanze Maha Bekanze Bekanze Raja Samangatiso Tayata Bekanze Bekanze
Bekanze Bekanze Raja Samangatiso Om Bekanze Bekanze Ma Bekanze Bekanze Raja Samangatiso Hayata Bekanze Bekanze Ma Bekanze Bekanze Raja Samangatiso Hayata Bekanze Bekanze Ma Bekanze Bekanze Raja Samangatiso Hayata Bekanze Bekanze Ma Bekanze Bekanze Raja Samangatiso
Tayata Om Bekanze
Bekanze Ma Bekanze Bekanze Raja Samangatiso Hayata Bekanze Bekanze Ma Bekanze Bekanze Raja Samangatiso Hayata Bekanze Bekanze Ma Bekanze Bekanze Raja Samangatiso Hayata Bekanze Bekanze Ma Bekanze Bekanze Raja Samangatiso Hayata Bekanze Bekanze Ma Bekanze Bekanze Raja Samangatiso Hayata Bekanze Bekanze Ma Bekanze Bekanze Raja Samangatiso
Hayata
Bekanze Bekanze Ma Bekanze Bekanze Raja Samangatiso Hayata Bekanze Bekanze Ma Bekanze Bekanze Raja Samangatiso Hayata Bekanze Bekanze Ma Bekanze Bekanze Raja Samangatiso Hayata Bekanze Bekanze Ma Bekanze Bekanze Raja Samangatiso Bekanze Bekanze Ma Bekanze Bekanze Raja Samangatiso Hayata Bekanze Bekanze Ma Bekanze Bekanze Raja Samangatiso Hayata Bekanze Bekanze Ma Bekanze
Raja
Samangatiso Hayata Bekanze Bekanze Ma Bekanze Bekanze Raja Samangatiso Hayata Bekanze Bekanze Ma Bekanze Bekanze Raja Samangatiso Hayata Bekanze Bekanze Ma Bekanze Bekanze Raja Samangatiso Hayata Bekanze Bekanze Ma Bekanze Bekanze Raja Samangatiso Hayata Bekanze Bekanze Ma Bekanze Bekanze Raja Samangatiso Hayata Bekanze Bekanze Ma Bekanze Bekanze
Raja Samangatiso
Gatiso Hayata Bekanze Bekanze Ma Bekanze Bekanze Raja Samangatiso
Hayata
Bekanze Bekanze Ma Bekanze Bekanze Raja Samangatiso Hayata Bekanze Bekanze Ma Bekanze Raja Samangatiso
Samangatiso
Hayata Bekanze Bekanze Ma Bekanze Bekanze
Raja
Samangatiso Hayata Bekanze Bekanze Ma Bekanze Bekanze Raja Samangatiso Hayata Bekanze Bekanze Ma Bekanze Bekanze Raja Samangatiso
Hayata
Bekanze Bekanze Ma Bekanze Bekanze Raja Samangatiso Hayata Bekanze Bekanze Ma Bekanze Bekanze Raja Samangatiso Hayata Bekanze Beganze, Beganze, Maha Beganze, Beganze, Rangza Samen Gadiso, Tayada Beganze, Beganze, Maha Beganze, Beganze, Rangza Samen Gadiso,
Tayata
Gadi, Beganze, Maha Beganze, Beganze, Rangza Samen Gadiso. Sanji Chodan Soji Sonula, Chanji Party Dami, Yosuji, Dami Chushi, Gibi Sonum, Roland Beji, Sanji Jubola Sho, Sanji Chodan Soji Sonula, Chanji Party Dami, Katsuchi, Dagi Chushi, Gibi Sonum, Roland Beji, Sanji Jubola Sho, Sanji Chodan Soji Sonula, Chanji Party Dami, Katsuchi, Dagi Chushi, Gibi Sonum, Roland Beji, Sanji Jubola Sho. 강기 도전이 존에 따와 탐지 방비처 담비 춘 된지 고등 결라 창세로 가진 건지 참되는 마음 질러셔도 있으라.
So we have been looking at Lamrim Kappa's middling presentation of the states of the path of enlightenment, and Geshe will pick up from the point that we left off in the previous session. So it will soon be on the screen, and we'll follow Geshe's reading.
대대 같은 참디지다 사지지나 그게 니버니 경수응어당 경수니 장기비 견세 당벌라니 tunjingona 시들자와 투수 시들자와 지금 롯상상 당벌라 숨저 무슨 죽 지들자와 당벌 저와 축축대 세니비 남들이 내가 지들자라 고속도 경도 저와 이와 매지 여빈세 벌쌈 땐데와라 루탐보 산디 기모종 체도 야 롱이 좀이 코니 잠주스 유된 정의식을 자 눈이는 거 자제 줘서 사무다 유지비 남았다 산지천서 파원 예랑 가도도 제가 빠두면 쉬고 상대 소신 살딱 람길기비 튕긴 초사보다 가겐 저거 이면 람신도 가위 사장이 내주비 양아도 봐 양아도 유장고소.
In looking at Lamrim Kappa's middling presentation on the states of the path to enlightenment, we have looked at a section that covers the defining characteristics of a spiritual teacher, and then the defining characteristic of a student that relies upon a teacher. Then, having covered that, we started to look at what to do in our meditation as we meditate on the states of the path to enlightenment. So Lamrim Kappa explains that, first of all, in the section of what to do during the meditation session itself, and what to do during the period between meditation sessions. So we started to look at a section of what to do during the meditation session itself. So that consists of 3 points. What to do in preparation for the actual meditation session, what to do during the actual meditation session, what to do at the end. So we have read through some of these parts, but let's just read through that again to refresh our mind. So in looking at what to do in preparation for a meditation session, there were 6 points that pertain to the 6 preparatory practices that prepare the mind for meditation. So cleansing or cleaning your dwelling and setting up representations of body, speech, and mind. Let's try to enlarge that. So cleaning our dwelling and setting up representations of body, speech, and mind, laying out offerings, sitting posture, and the mental attitude, visualization of the merit field, accumulation of merit and purification of bad actions, and mandala offering and request for blessings. So we read through some of those preliminary practices. We read through the first point. Following the biography of Suvarnabhipa, you should clean your dwelling and arrange representation of the exalted body, speech, and mind. Then the second branch in the preparation is beautifully lay out an arrangement of offerings that were honestly required. The third one is, on a comfortable seat, straighten up your body. Assume a suitable position in cross-legged or half cross-legged posture, making sure that your continuum is suffused with going for refuge and mind generation or bodhicitta. Then you visualize the merit field in the space in front of you. You imagine that there abide the lineage gurus of the vast conduct and profound view, and countless Buddhas, Arya Bodhisattvas, hearers, Pratyeka Buddhas, along with those who abide in the Buddha's words. Thus, visualize the merit field. Then, having done that, we go through the limb of accumulation of merit and purification of bad actions, beginning with the reason why it is necessary to accumulate merit and purify bad actions. And it says, it is exceedingly difficult for paths to arise in your continuum if the favorable conditions for the arising, the accumulations, have not been accumulated, and their adverse conditions, the obscurations, have not been purified. Therefore, you need to purify the continuum by means of the 7-limb practice, which brings together the key points of accumulation and purification.
Tilda, things that did not the Kongi, Juvichu to the cousin of the brother, but then drinking Nangalaya, Jachin Chobakan, someone that will give you Laman Tang said he. Then cousin of the Dodu Shiris Ra. In a two the Kari Islam, the Lam and Lamrim Lam San Givigi Salayan Domingi Drosigi Lam Telea Yachi Lam Girimbatang, Samuel Lam Girimbas, and Lam Girimba Dingimbodi, Sondrich in Drogo Warriors, Sondrich in Drogo Warriors.
In general, one explains here the reason why it is necessary to accumulate merit and purified negative actions. We do that within the framework of the preparatory practices that prepares for the actual meditation on the steps of the path to enlightenment. And as such, as we have spoken of in the previous session when Geshe explained the way to visualize the field of accumulation in front of you in relation to Lama Tsongkhapa Guru Yoga, he spoke about the visualization of the lineage lamas in this space in front of us. And roughly speaking, we can divide the lineage lamas into two groups. There are the lamas that teach us the steps of the path of the vast and extensive conduct, and the lineage of lamas that teach us the profound view. So we think about them in terms of the Lamrim tradition. And the Lamrim tradition, the word itself, Lamrim, consists of 2 syllables, Lam and Rim. And the meaning of Lam is path. The meaning of Rim is stages or graduated. So where does this path lead to? It proceeds to the state of Buddhahood. So this is the path that we want to follow. So it leads the way to our attainment of the state of Buddhahood. And as such, we combine 2 paths. The path of the vast and extensive conduct. So there is a graduated path of vast and extensive conduct and a graduated path of profound view. So we want to unite those 2 paths so that using the unification of these 2, we will proceed along the stages that lead to the state of Buddhahood.
Tilda, Dinza, the Teba Chimbugi. Chun Yamsling Jiki, Muni, the Dinilaya Jugoris, Lamgirimba Dinilaya Manjua, and in Dili, the Dilin Dadrovana, and Tabachimbu Chun Yamnilaya, Subio Maris. Is that the Dini Kararis Laundi, Gachi Chogu said, Gachi Lamgirimba said, so the Ninjungi Sambi Shichibigi. And Ninji down, Chanju Sem, and it just so passion to give Gen Tabini, and it Chanju Sem Yamsunim Rimbadi, Yachi Lamgi Rimbasedi, Dichagores.
So if we are to become Mahayana practitioners, we need to engage these 2 sets of paths. This is what we need to do. Otherwise, if we do not engage these 2 types of path, the path of the extensive conduct and the path of the profound view, if we do something that is different to that, we will not be included within the ranks of Mahayana practitioners, in a sense that what we do would not be a Mahayana practice. So how then do we go about and combine these two paths? To begin with, we have the steps of the path of the vast and extensive conduct. It is based on, first off, the determination to live cyclic existence, and on that basis, we develop compassion and bodhicitta. We practice the 6 perfections, and all these elements are included within the vast and extensive conduct.
가서다 좀된 데니 마 균이 다 규바 레사기 아니 좀된 데니 마 규사기 쪼디 아 주주 참봉 공부 차고 있어. 그러 주주 참봉 공부는 마 균이 다 저다 다 나는 저 변도 참의 균이 예사되네 쪼디 아니 파바토메게 주주 참고 무스 드르친 로중이 사지기리야 아니 소사 드르jan진 주준 참고 드르 주준 참고 샤무스니 아니 다 주준 참고 송다 텐중원도 징기 다 아니 튀긴 농게 다 용수 줘봐 아니 주준 참고 공무슨 되니 쉬지니 마균이 다 데네마 지니 페벤스게 삼벌로 써봐 어두 견진은 간지 아니 조지반데 아드샬이야 디 규바 아니 찬상하지 여대가 딘디식 차고 그랬어.
The steps of the path of the vast and extensive conduct began with the teachings that the Buddha, the Bhagavan, gave. So this lineage, first of all, originated from the Buddha. This lineage began from the Buddha, and the main figure that was responsible for upholding and preserving this set of teaching was the Venerable Maitreya, the protector Maitreya. And amongst the great scholars of Nalanda, there were, of course, many, if not all of them, that have engaged with those teachings of Maitreya, but the foremost was Asanga, who cultivated the practice of 12 years in which he attempted to come face to face with Maitreya in order to receive teachings on the vast and extensive conduct. He accumulated the collections, purified obscurations, and at the end, it depends upon that, he was able to see Maitreya face to face, to have an actual meeting with Maitreya in which he received teachings on what is now called the treatise of the Abhisamaya Alamkara, the ornament for clear realization. He received the transmissions and also the explanatory lineage from Maitreya, and this lineage, or those lineages, in turn, were passed on through generations. They were passed on to other great masters such as Haribhadra. And at some point, this lineage also made its way to Atisha, the first one, or the master that have composed the first Lamrim text.
데레 데니 사무엘 람지 림바세디 사무타기스는 사무엘 람지 림바디 아니 조디 아니 최남기 넬 테코노니 토비 셰럽디 다칸지 아니 뉴무바 다 시지드바 바차다 제바 비 빵잉기 무기 님부 조디 아니 토마니 토비 셰럽디 차고레스 라 딘자 디 아니 점된디는 마 유사기 아니 조디 아니 지준 잠비야 아니 지준 잠비양기다 아니 곰불루르고 쯔베다 지 바바 얍생알 소바 어딘티 마 규치니 아니 디 기바 창장디야 아니 조지반데 아드샬이야 요레스.
Then we have the second lineage, which is the lineage of the profound view. The lineage of the profound view teaches the stages for developing the wisdom that realizes emptiness, which means the wisdom that realizes the way that things are in the most subtle level, the wisdom of emptiness, which is required in order to obtain the actual antidote for the two sets of obscurations, cognitive obscurations and afflictive obscurations. If we were to eliminate ignorance together with its seeds, together with its imprints, we have to generate wisdom that perceptually realizes emptiness. So the steps of the path that lead to the generation of this wisdom were taught first off by the Buddha, the Bhagavan, passed on in turn to the main figure that preserved those teachings, which was the Venerable Manjushri. And then the foremost Nalanda master, Nagarjuna, and his spiritual children that have taken on these lineages and passed them on from Nagarjuna to his spiritual children, Chandrakiri, and so forth, in a succession of lamas that, again, made the way to Atisha, from which these instructions originated.
The Namji Papa Yazingadi Pangun Papa Ludru, Ayadeva, Sanjikyan, Dawa Chakwa,
Lagdenje. Lagdenje.
Lagdenjere.
How much?
Mal Lagdenje one there. Tangati the jet over there. This is the chief that I need to change.
So we mentioned Nagarjuna and his spiritual children. Actually, they are included within a group of 5 scholars. Of these 5 scholars, amongst them, we have, first of all, Nagarjuna, we mentioned his name. We also have Aryadeva, Buddhapalita, and Chandrakirti.
The Kasa Ayadeva, Wambuludu, Ayadeva, Pabala, Sanjikya, Dautapa. On the Dautapa. Gumbuludu,
Papala. All right. Nagarjuna, Aryadeva, Buddhapalita, Chandrakirti,
Sanjikya,
Buddhapalita. Anyway, kind of we're missing one, and kind of we're not sure whether Bhava Viveka is included within this list. After all, it belongs mostly to the Madhyamika Svatantrika school of thought. So
Sanjikya, Dautapa, Re, Gumbuludu, Aryadeva, Buddhapalita, and Sanjikya.
Yeah, so it's probably Bhava Viveka made his way into the list.
But there is a D and so chagores. The D these are Tangi Samnalaya, Karigao Yonis Lounge, Tangan Tigi, Chikundra Yosobati, on the Nedelia, Chantan, the Shutuyagi, Yacha Guchu Kogu, and Pilia, Revoyeza, Gaushus those.
Now, I guess I mentioned those names because, as you know, we have the Nalanda Master Garden, and when this idea originated, Geshe thought of inviting a group of 8 scholars, statues of 8 scholars, which are called the 2 ornaments and the 6 supreme ones. But then, as we have opened the garden, it is fantastic. Then people have expressed wishes to complete the set of 17 foremost Nalanda masters. And of course, Geshe says that he's totally enthused about it. So, he hopes, completely hopes, 100% hopes and sure that we'll be able to do that, to host a complete set of 17 Nalanda masters. So why are we saying that? Because this group of 5 scholars that are connected with the lineage of the profound view are part of this 17 Pandits of Nalanda monastery.
Tida Shunkabungalaya, Shunkabungalaya, Tusum Chiguras, Shunkabunga, Tusum Loni Chisagi, Shun so deep, and it Pendruchuding Shunchagores, Pendruchuding Shunchagores, Pena Parsing Shundavajina, and it's so deep and Jizu Chamango Jusagi, Nanandagi Keba, and in Papa Tomeda, and Singi Sango. Then Power Trodi, and Kuzo Chagores, that Shunzo the Tusu Chagores. He number samalo and pendu chuden shugores semi shong rabajina cholang cheda ni zo chagores tenin dubi shong ya yundemda bebe ni zo chagores and ngombi shong ya lebe ini teni kamalashla tenta lamrim gi tembi dabo ani conchagores 조지 반대 아디샤 아니 따지 가시 전주 셈비 쪼비기 냠니 조낭이기 존주기 아니 템비 다보디 안 시월라 차고레스 아니 켄지 시워조 도조 딘자 찬성 딘는 참고레스 더라
We're mentioning that because within the group of 17 foremost Nalanda masters, we have those masters which are the main figures connected with the 5 philosophical systems, the 5 classics. So when you look at the study programs, the study and reflection of monastics, they study the 5 major systems, and the 17 Pandits of Nalanda were directly connected with that. So just to illustrate that, we have of the 5 classics, we have the system of the Paramitayana, which means the vehicle of the perfections. So Asanga, Haribhadra, and Vimuktitsena, these 3 scholars of Nalanda, are the main figures that have explained the Paramitayana, the system of the perfection. Then we have the second system, which is a system of valid cognition or Pramana. 2 scholars were the main figures that explain that system. They are Dignaga and Dharmakirti. Then we have the system of the Vinaya. Shakyaprava and Gunaprava are the main figures that have composed commentaries on that system. Then we have the system of the Abhidharma. Vasubandhu and Kamalashila are connected with that system. Atisha is also included within the list of 17 Pandits of Nalanda, and Atisha was the main figure, the originator of the Lamrim tradition. We have also Shantideva, who has composed vast treatises explaining the vast conduct of bodhisattvas, composed his chief text, the Bodhisattvacharya Avatara, the Guide to Bodhisattva Way of Life. And also in relation to that, another scholar is Shantarakshita.
Dinza lakdun de penataji tandi chalaya nanzo nanandagi ani chugi chamameba di ani sabshin gyachewa yong suzowa tsandesagi ani yuldrula ziwaina ani pyokanjin jongdi chagi yobadi gyache gyadamares di ani su kadrin deni chombares lawaina ani kenjin shiwa choda choji pande adisha nambani ani pöle pevni ani kolikyenche kanji pege takabku yulchile ya ani kon nambani pevni ani sanji temba di ani chamameba yores ra.
And this profound and vast system that originated from the Nalanda monastery had made its way to Tibet. And due to the kindness of great masters, those teachings spread out in Tibet. And the main masters that were responsible for the dissemination of those teachings in Tibet initially were Atisha and Shantarakshita. Those teachings made their way to the snowy land of Tibet, which was considered to be a border land. And you could say that the stainless, pure teachings of the Buddha has then taken root in Tibet.
Tinzanganzugi nindelia, ani kenjin shio choda, choji pande adishagi, ani ku dendin shutubaina, ani kon namba nilaya, tu game film janda mandavigi, jik takab gilaya, ani sanji temba, ani tuyagi, tu game mano janda mandavigi, manzudi dendin shutubaina, dende lomadelaya, ani keba chimbu yunguri samudosra.
So then when Geshe thinks of the role that Shantarakshita and Atisha played in the dissemination, the arrival and dissemination of the Buddha's teaching in Tibet, then you can say that it is also in some way symbolic of inviting those statues also here to Chinmeric Institute. So he said that particularly because of their role, if you develop that sense of appreciation and esteem in Shantarakshita and Atisha, you make praise and so forth. Also in a place like that, Geshe feels that it will certainly bring about a great wave of, you can say effectiveness maybe, or blessings in the spreading of the teachings in a place like that.
Tereda kenji shiwotsu pela peni sanji temba ani sugi kabdula ya chik da meda mamayin bala soba kanji ani chumayin chogi ani chik nutsi shiw yobi kabdula ya ani pepe rumuchi ani pevni kanji kon namba nyigi ani sondre toni dus sanji temba sugi yobati pegu lorgi nalala ya dindi segores 인상 안주이나야 마음벌이야 아니 지 굉장히 되는 좀바이나 안 베베르지 걸 덴데 슈투바나 덴데 나스 아니 삼두스 라 디야 그 군다 마마 땅도 덴데 마고라치스라.
So then Shantarakshita was the main one that was involved, one of the main figures that were involved in the earlier dissemination of Buddhism in Tibet. And at that time, there were quite a lot of obstacles that Buddhism faced in the initial phase in Tibet. Obstacles and difficulties created by humans and non-human beings alike. So Shantarakshita called upon Guru Rinpoche, invited Padmasambhava, Guru Padmasambhava to Tibet in order to dispel those obstacles and difficulties. So that on that basis, with a combination of Shantarakshita and then Guru Rinpoche, the teachings of the Buddha were able to spread in Tibet. So then when Geshe thinks about it, then on top of the 17 Pandits of Nalanda, if in the future we can also have a Padmasambhava statue, that would also be quite symbolic. So, you might be thinking that, hang on, Geshe is kind of now speaking of more and more statues. Don't think about it like that. It's just one more.
Ngone Geshe jada ngaji da monde dis yorosira. Ta the them to say di Geshe jada ba kochi mandas yosarisira. Inza ani peven di leya tuye menu shanda mandas yobadi ani sevurisira. Inza that dirya nganzo tebegi damsi godos ra salamalaya ani kyawi kunjosumaya niba khari yobayniya nganzo dushi nguni tananda tebamena ani nganzo la pento tuyagi tablamdo nyigmodosra.
Anyway, Geshe said that on a personal level is he's a person of a bit of blind faith. Now he admits that he has blind faith in such things, which in his mind are quite symbolic. So they do carry a certain symbolism with them. So it works in a particular way, of course. If you have strong faith and if you have some Maya connections with a particular thing, then it can work. So we follow certain lamas, we do practices, deity practices, yidam practices. So for those practices to succeed, one needs to have faith, one needs to correct a certain mental attitude with respect to them, and also to have pure faith. So if you have pure faith and you correct a certain mental attitude, such things, Geshe feel, can become successful.
Terda dinzada gondasira kanji ngi kharsangwarsna manzu nendi gombadi ya ani yaurumchi shakchachi ani kachunani kanji netachim shuj chayores yinaya anzutachi ani china kasalola ya chi ani deschi chamanya badochik ra manzu du se tati Australia nangol rondi ge ani yudru mambu gi nambi yudru mambu gi gomba pe mambu shantu sira gomba to su pe ani tawan jamba ya bu shuch ine nano la ya jigla ni chinge kazu su mishima do pe ya bu shangshas ko chagje de jamba chi tinzata ani ngala ya dindi neba changsa de yo mar de ine ya mi mambu gi ani nano la ya kale gyamni manzu gomba di ya bu chana sam dingi pe mambu yo res ro kunzu kale pe gyago res 다 gomba 약부 소야리야 테스트 요탄 고도스라 아니 야기 생이 다운디기 교 마다마 야기 드라이버를 못하스라 다치 죽제 야기 다와라 사다 도다 신가 소본 요탄 고로스 다 디지털 구온디기 아니 가시 시오지 아니 베 아니 롱랑치 마기와 체대든지 딘지 꾸지 싸우는 만나로시스 먼저 디 직zam에 서야 되다. 근데 좁아서야 상무 싸우는 말했어. 이 약부치오는 상상치. 마음발에 수때 봐이나 한 당원 좀 전화 싸미 아니 내가 지기 얼마도 아니 다가스 좀 지고 말았어. 주저 맞춰진 지기 말았어. 가시 빽깔리 겨거든요. 가시 아니 소동 땅 아니 돈 나고 이리하고 싸우는 문제스러. 만나러시스.
His Holiness the Dalai Lama visited Chinrezig Institute almost a decade ago when he gave teachings here. So as such, you could say that since it is a place that His Holiness the Dalai Lama visited and gave teaching here, it becomes a place of great significance. So despite the visit of His Holiness to Chinrezig Institute, we can see that sometimes in terms of what's happening outside and what's happening inside, there's sometimes a state of imbalance. And things happen when the outside and the inside do not accord with each other. There's a sense of imbalance. So we want to fix it. Now, looking at the situation in general here in Australia, so of course, we're not the only Buddhist place here in Australia. There are different traditions that have made their way to Australia. Different centers and different monasteries were established in Australia. But Geshe is wondering in how many places are the study programs that enable students to develop the mind based upon knowledge. Geshe is not sure, but he reckons that you might have monasteries or temples or centers that look very nice from the outside, but in terms of providing education program or study program, Geshe is not sure that many of them can offer that to the public. So looking at what we want to do here, we want to provide education, study, information to the public. And of course, in order to do that, we need to have different things that will come together in order to be able to do that. So externally, Geshe says that, although he doesn't have a great ability to do that, still externally, we are trying to make changes, to improve our facilities, to do different things in order to be able to do things better. So if we want to improve what we do, of course, change needs to happen. We need sometimes to change things in our external environment. So we might move some pieces of earth, we might have to cut some trees, we might have to clear away some stones and so forth. So if you find yourself resistant to change and you feel a bit agitated, or even you get angry that such things are made, please try to maintain a balanced mind, a mind that is open to change. It's not that we just do it in order to make the land appear beautiful. It's not that we do it because it is dirty or polluted or what have you, for whatever improvement or progress we want to do. No, we have to change things. Progress, development will not come unless some things are changed. So if we had to clear away certain things, it's not just because we want to clear them away. We want to open the way for some greater development. So please bear with us. Now, Geshe is saying that because we, as you can see, we have cleared away some parts around the Gompa in order to install the solar system, in order to do some other things. So some people are going to be a little bit agitated and so forth. So please, control it. Don't get agitated. Don't get too disturbed. We want to open the way for some progress.
Dinza pen danganzu sechig luchig ya ani sangi tuyagi danga khabarji ani doji tebigi lamgirim basej yorwas dia ani phaba yavsinga ta chu thugu shichini dinangi ani songlteni nyangni chigweji chadu yores phaba yavsinga
Okay.
Dinza 당간주 아니 다 소신 공약 조디 디드레스 따로 조디 아니 템비다고 템보 상지 좀 된디 다 울라 슈비기 아니 펜주 주데 되니 딱 지금 남절이야 무스피리야 세나무디 디 아니마 loving 나는기 아니 자와충가 봐 아니 자오르무치 아니 지 추진가기 아니 템비 다고 나고 소디 다 소신 공약이 아니 닌다우디 디차고 그랬어.
And also we have a system that enables us as practitioners to attain the state of enlightenment in one lifetime based upon one body. This spiritual system is called the Vajrayana. So then in order to practice that system, we begin with visualizing the field of accumulation, which includes different beings, as we've just mentioned, like, for example, this group of 5 scholars, the protector Nagarjuna and his spiritual children. But also in the field of accumulation, we include beings such as the Buddha. Actually, within the visualization of the 17 Pandits of Nalanda, Buddha, the Lord of the teaching, is visualized in the middle, and then around him is surrounded by the 17 Pandits of Nalanda. We can add to the field of accumulation the great master Lama Tsongkhapa, His Holiness the Dalai Lama, and other teachers and masters which are connected with such states of the path. All of them are visualized in front of us within what we call the field of accumulation.
어디다 딘자 초신 살다위디 당간주 망부 슈지 슈나 마슈나야 간지 아니 조디 아니 디기티 차고르스 디디 아니 송을 때니 아니 간주 냠슬레 퇴송 공정 체치네 아니 랑귤라야 아니 야친 쪽에도 사무타 유기 남기름바디 레야리 마토비 딜리신 간이짱 간주 니에요 말스 딘자 안 드조 살야고 스탑치 드조레야 대바타나야고 시장지 조 초신 살다위디 고바 조디 아니 대바페약 쳐드려도스 대바기약 대바약 지어봐이나 아니 독 메비 대바 지어봐이나 아니 디 토니 아니 냠는 가르치 지어봐이나야 아니 산지 질름 중이 시버치 딜리 차고 와서레스.
So at the beginning of the meditation session, we visualize the field of accumulation, which include those beings that have transmitted the teachings to us. So we do that because we want to study, reflect, and meditate upon these teachings. We want to study, reflect, and meditate upon those teachings so that these 2 paths of the vast and extensive conduct and the profound view will be generated in our mind stream. We want to arrive at those paths. We want to make them arise in our mind stream. For that to happen, we also need to have faith. We need to generate faith in our minds in those scholars and the teachings that they have composed. And we want to take that faith to the point in which it becomes irreversible faith, in that it is unshakable faith, because through that faith, we can engage the blessings of the teachers and teachings.
렌디나노라 람 귤기비기 튕긴 초사바스 다 가겐 저버종이 메나 람신디 깨가베스 소야기 람 귤기비 튕긴 초사바디 아니 소신 살담세 디토니 용도스 소신 살담이 대바장와 디기 아니 소놈 라보치 사그레스 소 라보치 조그레스 단 가겐 저버종이 깔아야 되니 아니 양라 둥기고니 사장치야디 아니 저거 종지기 탈래야 송구도 왔어요.
in this section that we read through, it says, it is exceedingly difficult for paths to arise in your continuum if the favorable conditions for their rising, the accumulations, have not been accumulated, and their adverse conditions, the obscurations or obstructions, have not been purified. Therefore, you need to purify the continuum by means of the 7-limb practice, which brings together the key points of accumulation and purification. We visualize the field of accumulation in front of us. And here it says that in order to accumulate the collections and to purify negativities and obscurations, we need a certain reference point. So we visualize them in front of us. We develop faith in what we visualize in front of us. And through the development of faith, pure faith, we accumulate the collections and purify obscurations through a practice that is called the 7 limbs of worship.
데려왔다. 먼저 땜비 다보 땜을 좀 된디 또 좀 된디리 데려야 아니 지금 인구 리뷰 띵네 아니 대바 당한지 매바이나 데네 산지 위치디 아니 시작하는 라고 왔어. 디 공바디 아니 제마 지진기 피기게 마 아니 세우진 이 토로 께니 아니 로니 돈 타스 저번에 단단히 남들이야지 다 초초진 아니 샹에 콘 넘버 2기 가든다 콘 넘버 2야 대바 당한지 매바이나 아니 딜리 셴바질이야 아니 지 누바단 투다 존저데 지 요르스 랍데아 마도비 남줄이야 무스 칸에 펜도 메유질이야 슈지 이시 대바이나야 카부로 왔어.
The lot of the teaching is the Buddha, the Bhagavan, and without developing strong faith in the Buddha, we'll have no basis for engaging with those teachings. But the Buddha gave teachings, as we said, the Buddha, the Bhagavan is a lot of teaching, but the teachings were put into writing and also explained in a succession of scholars. And our ability to study, reflect, and engage with those teachings, our ability to do so is attributed to the kindness of these great masters. So also with that trust and faith in those masters, again, we will have no basis for engaging that with our study, reflection, and meditation. So it is also important to have that clear faith in the Buddha and those masters. Other than that, if we set them aside, we don't think about them. We don't think about the Buddha, those great masters, we don't have faith in them. If we just follow someone that displays some great powers, some supernatural powers or miraculous powers, Geshe wonders if we'll find any strong basis for study, reflection, and meditation that will get us to where we want to go. Likely not.
데리딘자 원주다 벤주치든디 다 자오르무치기 시우지기 제바나치니 다 탈도나 아니 산지기 땜바지 참 상원지 아니 퇴송공송 제고에는다 아니 드바냐오니 제고에는다 투사디 아니 자갈 나난다기 니 페비 아니 콘 넘버 2에 2여부터 6천이다 아니 딘디게 아니 셰고지 넘버에 왔어 로
His Holiness the Dalai Lama was the one who, you could say, pointed out this group of 17 foremost scholars of Nalanda Monastery. So if you are intent on studying, reflecting, and meditating on the teachings of the Buddha, the Bhagavan, if you want to put them into practice, as His Holiness says, these are the sources that you need to rely upon.
사장님네 집에 양라든바 세들이 양라든디마 아니 지단 상부집이 하는 거 찍대 자니 아니 세우치는 것을 듣마 로샤가 있으라.
So the end of this section says, therefore, you need to purify the continuum by means of the 7-limb practice, which brings together the key points of accumulation and purification. So You do the 7 limb practice, and you can also combine with that the King of Prayer by Samantabhadra. Anyway, let's go through the explanation of accumulation and purification in details.
Then dela chatsavi yangla la gosum don bichanis. Dele da chatsavi yangla dela ya gosum yores lu nga yisum gi gosum gi toni ani chatsawa chi yungu yores. Da ni go devu roji chechene da nga yi chadu samchene ani de devaina ani nga gi chatha dogore lu gi chatha dogores. Da chansang sanya ji jevaina ani lu gi chat seche ani nga ni ani pigilaya camroinanta adikyo ani yila titen samchene ani cha sebaina ani cha yonsu zobachi ra chanzang chentu dasra.
So when we begin with the explanation of accumulation and purification in detail and the actual detailed explanation, we begin with the limb of prostration, which says in the first point of prostration combining the 3 doors, it says with regard to the limb of prostration, the prostration combining the 3 doors is set out in a single stanza. So paying homage or making prostrations, we do that with our body, speech, and mind. We visualize the field of accumulation in front of us, and we pay homage to the beings in the field of accumulation with our body, speech, and mind. Which means that you need to do it physically, verbally, and mentally. Now, you can try to smart out your practice in thinking that I don't really need to do it physically or verbally. If I just visualize it all in my mind, that will suffice. Well, you might think like that, but still you're living out physical and verbal prostration. So if you want to do it in a complete sense, then with your body, you will make prostrations. With your speech, you can say, for example, the verse of going for refuge, the Buddha, the Dhamma, and Sangha go for refuge until I'm enlightened. And in your mind, you generate faith and clarity with respect to them. And in that sense, your way of paying homage will become complete.
Da chinye soda chibi tsikji chikdin jikden ki kam chogre watan tu ririwe sanji mayingi cho chugatan tu sumkar shubi gyawa tamjela mingni samba tabani gosum kubi chansa wos. Gosum sosu chala lugi chana sambu chibi so tsikji chikde chodan tu yudibi gyawa tamji yigi yudu onsum sumbatar mingla rangi lu dutar tanda nyamba chudi chacha wos.
Continuing with the reading of this paragraph, it says, this is not prostration to the world spheres of one direction and to Buddhas of one time. Rather, focusing on all the victors, which means all the Buddhas residing in the 10 directions and the 3 times, you prostrate body, speech, and mind to them with respect and from the bottom of your heart. So when prostration of the 3 individual doors, which means separately body, speech, and mind, are explained, it says, first of all, with respect to physical prostrations. Physical prostration is set out in a single stanza, excellent conduct. So this is what is called the King of Prayer of Samantabhadra. Samantabhadra in Tibetan can also be rendered as excellent conduct. So you focus on all the victors belonging to the directions and times as the object of your mind, as though you directly perceive them. Emanating your own body in manifestations as numerous as fine particles, you should prostrate yourself. Furthermore, having generated the power of faith in the excellent conduct of objects, you should be motivated by that. Then we have the mental prostration, which says mental prostration is set forth in a single stanza on the fine particle, also taken from Samantabhadra's King of Prayer. On top of each minute particle, Buddhas as innumerable as dust particles reside encircled by bodhisattvas. Generate the belief of recollecting their excellent qualities.
간지 딘디기 상우 야친 땅 투바이나니 다 야부 슈여로스라 간지 가츠스기 아니 미과 제투투 아니 메바 제투투 미과 사우 제 토네 사우 때미 토네 아니 루비 차제 나기 깜루 때바이나 당원의 자네기 창장 생각도 왔으라 베나 딱하시 리카지 땡인지 주야래 가우시 요딩이지 마이나 땡인진디 율지라 밍니 아니 샘디 세부치다 땡부치 데투야기 고버츠 데레도스 디에 용구도스 디에코 아니 차츠이 셜레 연 드루트게치 용구도스라 인지메 땡인지 주야래 쪽쪽치니 미좀 데데고에스키 야자야타미 요사마레스
So if you can take the time and to your best ability to visualize those things in front of you as much as you can, and also we have different abilities to do that. So according to your own particular ability to visualize those things in front of you, you spend some time in trying to develop some clarity with respect to them to the extent that you can. You observe them, and then with this single pointed faith, you might recite a verse of going for refuge. That becomes a complete way of paying homage. And through that, you can also develop concentration. So we have, since we are different to each other, we do have different inclinations to different practices. For example, some people have stronger affinity with developing concentration. We practice in concentration, and the aim is to develop a single pointed concentration. So that can be done also with making sure that to your best ability, you call to mind, you visualize these objects in front of you, and you develop in your mind the single pointedness in your visualization, which is a good point to make, because sometimes you might think that in order to cultivate the concentration, you have to sit cross-legged in a rigid position. But it's not necessarily the case. If you think of, for example, involving concentration in that practice in which you pay homage. So in your mind, you visualize all these objects in front of you, and while you also recite the verse and you offer prostrations, if in your mind you still maintain concentration, single point concentration with respect to them, Geshe reckons that also contributes to the practice of concentration.
Teza dinti ji chochuda tusum tamjigi ani gyawalaya mingni selta matuba inaya ani tembo chomdendi ani chik kulaya tsukduriya ba ani kula chugun nangsu sordengi ani chik chalaya longze nabdengi ani gelhon chik selta vela tesle lawros ra dinti ji selta cheni ani chatse baina ra tagara mingba tagara shani ani 먼저 라면 주변으로 소문난 신기 견 라면 견 예든 견 감도 최경대 대내존 잔주버도 겸미겨 주면 소세기 아니 지 일해야 담자 숙친고 샤진 아니 미버 딘지 토네 아니 차 사바이나 딜하지 고사 말와스로
It says here in the section explaining prostration, combining the three doors, this is not prostration to the world spheres of one direction and to the Buddhas of one time, rather focusing on all the victors, all the Buddhas residing in the 10 directions and the 3 times. You prostrate your body, speech, and mind to them. So it might seem to you to be very full on to visualize all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas all the Buddhas of the 10 directions and the 3 times. If you feel that you're incapable of extending or sustaining such an extensive visualization, you can begin with visualizing the Buddha in front of you and developing some concentration and clarity with respect to the crown of the Buddha, this Ushnisha. For example, the Dharma wheels on the palms and the feet of the Buddha, the begging bowl of the Buddha. And just like we recite in the Guru Puja in one of the verses, it says, you're the Lama, you're the Guru, you're the Idam, you're the Dakini, you're Dharma protectors. From this time on and until I attain enlightenment, I seek no refuge other than in you. So you think about it like that in relation to the Buddha.
Thank you so much.
So thank you. We will leave this session here for now. Thank you very much.
And Terry, Yaurumji Sonju the Tangelection Boris. Dina Tangelection Chansan Rise the Yomaras, that you golden Nindu and Sungu Giris. Dinitas Chansan Jimbishi. Nagashich Nakaudan and the Chabit Kin Radius Ra.
So today at 1:30, His Honesty Dalai Lama is going to start a 3-day teaching on essence of eloquence. So we're going to show the teaching here on the screen at the Gompa. So if you're around, you're welcome to join us for those teachings. So we'll do it today, tomorrow, and the day after. Essence of eloquence is Geshe's favorite text. Right? So he brought the text along with him just to show you the text. This is his most favorite text, and wherever he goes, wherever he travels, this text always goes with him. So this 3-day teaching will start today. Every day it's going to be at 1:30. Tomorrow, by the way, I'm adding something else to the program. So tomorrow we're going to have a freestyle picnic before this teaching. So if you plan to come out for the teaching tomorrow, then BYO food, and we have cake and coffee at the cafe. So you're welcome to go crazy. Sorry? All right. So then, also, since Geshe is getting older, and he had a, and it was his birthday yesterday. We're going to have a surprise birthday party. He doesn't know about it, but we're going to have a birthday party tomorrow at the Nalanda Master Garden. So we're also going to have a birthday cake. So that would be after the teachings, probably around 3 o'clock. So you're welcome to come either before, during, or after. So I forgot to say something. So Geshe brought the text with him, and he says that he's honest. He's going to start the teaching today, but obviously you can see that the text is quite thick. So within 3 days of teaching, obviously His Honest is not going to be able to teach all of it, but still it's probably going to draw out some essential points from this text. So having inaugurated the Nalanda Master's Garden, Geshe over a few days went down to the garden initially and made sure that he reads that he has a complete reading of Essence of Eloquence in the Nalanda Master's Garden. So probably it's maybe the first and only time ever that this text was read, done at the garden. So that has already been done. Venerable Jonsel, that passed away last year, was supported by the community in Geshe just before passing away, and Geshe gave her transmissions, and including the transmission of Essence of Eloquence, which seems to be something that you find really soothing and good. So that was also done. So let's dedicate the virtue at the end of this session. Sancho Rinpoche, Mahe Bana Kegyuchi, Gyavanya Bamepa, Gone Gondo Bewasho, Nyodo Da Lama Sange Drogyone, Jo Achikyamalupa, De Salago Pasho, Kowe Shinkanki, Tendan Dewa Mayo Jomene, Chenre Siwanten Singyaso, Shape Sinte Badu, thank you, Chi. Jangun Yawe Ten, Sinkyon Pewe, Kunso Topote, Chanso Kowe Lemon Tuju, 다소 드제 건들 샤제쇼.
Thank you.
아,
감사합니다.
아, 네.
네.
Has anyone sponsored?
Which one? Kama sheep?
Yeah,
No.
I don't think so. Okay, because I'm reading stages of meditation. Monday, industrial.
Only about the study years. Calling about the study years. So Kama sheep.
Okay. No worries. Shall I speak to Colin?
Yes.
I've seen him Monday,
Yeah.
working,
Yeah.
so
Okay.
I'll sort it out. All right, great.
Excellent.
All right. It's a gift for you too.
Thank you.
First time.
Jesus.
How's it going? I can check the email. They do something wrong.
Yes.
It's about sponsorship
Okay.
you may be able to raise sponsorship for language music. You need it. And that is not the money. Now it's 5 years ago. So you can find it, so that would help a lot of money. Otherwise, we have to apply for the sponsorship.
Yeah. I can check it now. How are you? Yes.
A lot of things.
Yeah, it's pretty overwhelming, isn't it?
It's okay. I think it's also getting some kind of and another thing is in the beginning of everything.
Yeah.
And then you have to
Yeah.
this has to wait. And
Yeah, it's like can be overwhelming just kind of sorting out what's.